We welcome you to Bally's Park Place in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Tonight, the WBC Super Bantamweight Championship. Tracy Harris Patterson puts his title on the line against Hector Acero Sanchez. And we welcome you to the ballroom inside of Bally's Park Place along the boardwalk in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Glad you can join us for ESPN's Top Ranked Boxing. Papa, along with Al Bernstein, glad you can join us. And Al, it is a pleasure to join the longest-running boxing show on television.
Bob, we are delighted you're with us, and I know you're going to be here for a long time. We're going to have a lot of fun, you and I.
Well, we should have a dandy tonight. Tracy Harris Patterson puts his WBC championship on the line. He is one of those young fighters that not many people know about, but is a terror in the ring.
He's really a talented young man, and he's now engaged in his sixth title defense. And, you know, a lot of times when fighters get a title, they become a better fighter. And even though he has humility, Tracy admits that.
I believe so. You know, but the people have to be the judge of that. You know, I'm just going to go out there and fight my fight and hope for the best.
Well, the man across from the ring this evening will be Hector Acero Sanchez. Not much is known about him, but he's a good young fighter who likes to stay on the outside.
Yeah, he's a guy who we've seen here on ESPN against two men. One, Eddie Croft, who he had a draw with, and he really beat him. And then the other, Frankie Toledo, who is a southpaw, who beat him. And ironically, Bob, as is often the case, you know, in boxing, he got this title shot more from his loss than the good performance against Eddie Croft. Make no mistake about it. Hector Acero Sanchez is a very clever and crafty boxer, and he is a guy who can give Tracy Harris Patterson lots of trouble tonight.
All right, before we get to our championship fight, the WBC Super Bantamweight Championship, you get a look at Hector Acero Sanchez, fighting out of New York City, 29-2 and 20 knockouts. He'll be taking on Tracy Harris Patterson. He said there in Spanish he is going to be the champion.
I knew that too.
Harris Patterson puts his WBC Super Bantamweight Championship on the line against Hector Acero Sanchez. Main event of the evening, the WBC Super Bantamweight Championship. Tracy Harris Patterson takes on Hector Acero Sanchez. Al Bernstein takes a closer look at the champion.
Tracy Harris Patterson got the world title the old-fashioned way. He earned it. He had 46 fights before he got a chance at the title, like this win over Kenny Mitchell. And when he got his opportunity, Tracy made the most of it. He battered Francis Thierry Jacobs to win the WBC crown in 2 rounds. And like his adoptive father, Floyd Patterson, Tracy reached his championship dream with a KO victory. And since then, he's made 4 defenses, including this one over tough Jesse Benavides. This hard-earned and closely fought win kept him the title. But still, he yearns for more respect, just like other lighter weight champions that are around today.
Hopefully, you know, guys like Kevin Kelly, you know, who speaks out against Tommy Benjamin Johnson and myself. Hopefully, people can see, you know, the kind of performance that we're going to go out and do, and maybe it'll change a few minds and open the doors for the light guy.
24-year-old Hector Acero Sanchez is a clever and crafty boxer. He showed those traits against Eddie Croft. In fact, he boxed superbly, but the best he could get out of this was a draw. Such was not the case when he took on Frankie Toledo. Toledo's southpaw style and Sanchez's own bout with the flu that day combined to give him fits. Hector never quite got into the rhythm for this fight, and he lost, but a win since then has still made him marketable for the title shot he gets tonight.
Hector Acero Sanchez, with the bow tie and all, is in the ring, and he is set for tonight's championship fight. And here are the WBC rules which will govern this evening's fight. 3 knockdown rule is in effect. No standing 8-count position can stop the fight. 10-point must scoring system. 3 judges score the fight, and the fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any of the rounds. And now it is time for our AutoZone keys to victory.
Well, for Tracy Harris Patterson, he's got to start a little quicker than he did his last fight. The double left hook, a very important weapon for him. Acero Sanchez wants to give him a lot of angles, try and give Patterson something different to think about, because Tracy is normally the boxer and takes nothing for granted. He must win every round and win them as big as he can, because he is the challenger, and he's had some tough decisions.
And here comes Tracy Harris Patterson. will be putting his WBC Super Bantamweight Championship on the line. This is his 5th title defense. His last fight, April 9th of this year in Reno, a 12-round decision over Richard Duran. He cut Duran over the left eye, won this fight going away. Has not lost in 21 consecutive decisions. Tracy Harris Patterson in the ring. He's ready to put his championship on the line. The Super Bantamweight crown against Hector Acero Sanchez. And now for the introductions, our ring announcer, Ed Darian.
From Bally's Park Place Casino Hotel, here in Atlantic City, New Jersey, Top Rank Incorporated and Budweiser, the king of beers, in association with Garden State Boxing and Bally's Park Place, are presenting Top Rank Boxing's main event. It's the WBC Super Bantamweight Championship, and is approved by the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board. The Honorable Larry Hazard, Senior Commissioner. The Honorable Jerry Gormley, Chairman. Members of the board, Gary Shaw and Al Daniels, Senior. And is sanctioned by the WBC, the Honorable Jose Suleiman, President. The supervisor in charge of attendance ringside this evening from Montreal, Canada, is Mario LaProverse. Our judges, Henry Ellis Puro of Sacramento, California, Cindy Barton of Las Vegas, Nevada, and Vinny Rainoni of South Hackensack, New Jersey. In the ring at this time, the man in charge of the scheduled 12-round WBC title bout, Ron Lipton of West Orange, New Jersey. And now, my good friends, introducing the principals. First, in the red corner, wearing the white trunks with a gold rim. He weighed in at even 122 pounds. From a native of Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic, and now residing in the Big Apple of New York City. He has 29 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws with 20 knockouts. Is ranked number 8 by the WBC. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the challenger, Hector Acero Sanchez. And his opponent in the blue corner, wearing the blue trunks with the white trim. He too weighed in at 122 pounds. From Poughkeepsie, New York, he has 50 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw with 36 knockouts. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the WBC Super Bantamweight Champion, Tracy Patterson.
Gentlemen, I've given you the rules of the World Boxing Council. I remind you now, you score a knockdown. Watch those follow-up punches. Do not hit a man on the deck or you'll risk disqualification. No matter what happens out here, obey my commands. Good luck, buena suerte. And now there's a look at Floyd Patterson, the adopted father of Tracy Harris Patterson. What a gentleman.
Great guy. Always has been. We chatted with him this morning, and he was as cooperative as ever.
And there is Hector Acero Sanchez, 24 years of age. Has not recorded a knockout since July 16th of 1992, and we begin round number 1. Tracy Harris Patterson with 8 first-round knockouts in his career. Acero Sanchez with 2. The ratio for both of these fighters.
Sanchez definitely less of a knockout puncher than Patterson, although Tracy Harris Patterson is not known for huge power, but he puts his punches together well enough to get his share. His 5th title defense, as you saw in our highlight, probably the best one, was the win over Jesse Benavides. There's the hook from Patterson I talked about in the keys to victory.
Wild left there. Very interesting. Most fighters will tell you game plan coming in, but Floyd Patterson told us that what they like to do is wait until the first round is complete and then formulate more of a game plan after seeing what the opposition does.
And that's when Floyd, who looks at the tapes of opponents, will start telling Tracy what he's seen in the tapes. They tell him beforehand. You have to make sure the fighter's going to do the same thing they saw him do before. We had Tracy on against Stevie Cruz before he won his titles. First time we've seen him here in the ESPN since he's champion.
Wife and 3 children on hand against the midway point of this first round.
And 2 of his children have never seen him box, and they are here this evening.
Ages 4, 2, and 1, with his son TJ being the youngest.
They've been busy in the Patterson household. A lot of kids there. That hook to the body by Tracy.
Acero Sanchez told us that he wants to pretty much stay away, give Patterson a lot of angles. Have you seen much so far?
Some, but not enough. Patterson's into the corner as in those situations. Ron Lipton telling Sanchez to keep his punches up. I thought Ron Lipton was quite specific in light of the Riddick Bowe situation and saying, don't hit a guy when he's down. I'll get into Ron Lipton's story. It's quite interesting. He's been involved in the world of theater as it relates to boxing. How's that for a teaser? They got to come back for the next round, don't they?
Anytime you speak, Alec.
Well, maybe not anytime.
We come to the end of round number 1, the WBC Super Bantamweight Championship. Tracy Patterson against Hector Acero Sanchez. With Al Bernstein, Tracy Harris Patterson in the blue trunks, eating a combination from Hector Acero Sanchez. Patterson with his WBC bantamweight title on the line, and down he goes.
A legitimate knockdown. Patterson trying to go to the body, and Sanchez just nailed him with the right hand. That's a shot.
And Patterson looks a little uncertain.
Well, when was the last time Sanchez had a knockout? 1992, wasn't it?
July 16th. He does have 5 career second-round knockouts.
Patterson holding a bit, trying to collect himself. We've seen some upsets in this series in years gone by. This one would rank as one. Sanchez can get the job done.
After round 1, it looks like Patterson had his game plan down, but goes down here in round 2.
Now Patterson is going downstairs to the body, but in the process is leaving himself open to getting nailed in the head. And Sanchez blocking his body shot. We're back in that corner where Patterson got careless. Oh, big right.
There's a right hand that scores.
But Sanchez came back with his own, and that hurt Patterson. Well, Sanchez is going to hold for that counter right.
And he's fighting very well off the rope. And a right hand scores again. Patterson is hurt. Remember, there is no standing 8 count.
This kind of power from Sanchez is really shocking. Because in the fights we've seen, we've not seen this kind of power before.
Right now, Tracy Harris Patterson, nothing on the punches, and he's a little unsteady.
Good counter right by Patterson. But now, we talk about angle. That's what Acero Sanchez is thinking about. He's not seeing right into front of Tracy Harris Patterson. That's part of the reason why he's able to avoid a lot of those punches and land his own.
And round number 2 is over. Let's
actually do more volume and more boxing. You'll get him there. Keep it up there about it. But I like going on the drink of water. I think really just feel like it's a combination. I don't know if it's a combination. Put the hell out. Don't do it.
Here's where Sanchez landed the counter shot. Big right hand off the ropes, followed with two more, a left and a right. And Patterson hit the deck. And from this angle, you will see even better how these punches had an impact on Tracy Harris Patterson. Very short, compact punches, Bob.
And he nearly went down later on in round number 2 as well, but he held on and restarted round 3. Patterson trying to defend his WBC Super Bantamweight Championship. Still a long way to go, though, against Hector Acero Sanchez. That was the point that Floyd Patterson and Teddy Atlas tried to make in between the rounds. Now the punches through 2 rounds, and although Patterson has landed the higher percentages, Acero Sanchez is the busier.
Now here's where Patterson has to be careful. He had so many good shots, and that's what he wanted to do. Land your combinations, then get out of it. Don't lay there. What Floyd Patterson told me doing it worked in that instance.
It's an odd that the taller fighter, Acero Sanchez, with the reach, fighting out of the corner, is actually having better of the action.
Well, not if he, as long as he doesn't allow Patterson to fight right off the chest, no, because he's still using that reach. And he has a good counter puncher, Sanchez, and that's what he obviously wants to do. Again, the right's getting there. Every time Patterson comes in, the counter right hand gets him.
And the left has been fairly accurate as well.
You know what this fight reminds me of? We had a fight in which Charles Murray lost his title to Jake Rodriguez. Rodriguez came in a big underdog, and he really outslicked Charles Murray, even though the southpaw stance is part of the reason why he did. This fight reminds me very much of that. And Rodriguez ended up lifting the title from Murray in a big upset.
Acero Sanchez was able to duck away and move from any of those punches.
Strong jab from Patterson. I'll say to getting into the flow of things. We talked about how he started a little slowly last time with Richard Duran. Of course, this is an even slower start for him. We'll see if he picks up the pace as he did in that starting.
Patterson did have a good round 1, but it all unraveled in round 2.
The defense of Sanchez, we saw it against Eddie Croft. Excellent, and there's an example of it. He's a very good defensive fighter.
And there's a left that you found the mark inside.
Very reminiscent here also of the way Sanchez fought Eddie Croft in New York. He ended up with a draw in that fight, but he really won it.
Final 10 seconds of round number 3. Tracy Harris Patterson and Hector Acero Sanchez. This one has the makings of a dandy for the championship.
Patterson has looked at the body as he did there, and every time he does, when Sanchez is in the corner, Bobby comes off those ropes firing the right hand, and it lands.
And round number 4 is underway. Tracy Harris Patterson down in round number 2. Trying to establish some dominance here in the ring in round number 4.
You know, Sanchez's defense, there's the total numbers. Patterson did much better in the last round, making it a lot closer here. The defense of Sanchez has always been his meal ticket. That's what he uses to win most of his fights. We're seeing good evidence for that here tonight. He's a very tough man to hit.
Now let's take a look at your scorecard. You have it 28 apiece.
Yeah, and the reason is because I gave Sanchez a 2-point round in round 2, but in round 1 and 3, I gave the edge to Patterson.
Line difference just a bit. I thought in round 3, Acero Sanchez did enough to win the
And I think right at this juncture, you'll see a lot of different scoring if you go back and score. I mentioned Ron Lipton. He got worked as the boxing consultant on a play. which was called Ali, the Real Story. And it was in the, it was a play they held in Coconut Grove Playhouse in Miami. He was the actual consultant that trained the actors and taught them all about boxing.
Well, right now he's getting a close look at Hector Acero Sanchez fighting off the ropes again and giving Tracy Harris Patterson a lot of trouble here in round 4. I wonder how much the confidence of Patterson has been shaken because he can't solve the puzzle of Acero Sanchez.
I think at this juncture, though, Bob, he's starting to get back into his rhythm because in that last round he did, I thought, a little bit. Now, even in this round, he's not landing huge shots, but he's keeping Acero Sanchez from landing as many of the counter punches as he did before, although there was a hook.
Right hand, he follows it up with the left. There is more zip on Patterson's punches now.
And he's cutting off the rim a little better on Sanchez, keeping him now in that corner. He has to be careful just not off big body punches. And now Sanchez isn't landing the counter right as much when Patterson moves in. Very interesting fight, a real chess match, but with a lot of excitement as well.
Looking steps in. Final 10 seconds of round number 4. This one is scheduled for 12. Tracy Patterson against Hector Acero Sanchez. Back to Atlantic City after this timeout. Public now finding out of the Bronx, New York. Hector Acero Sanchez bidding for the WB Super Bantamweight Championship held by Tracy Harris Patterson. Patterson in the blue, Acero Sanchez in the white. And we've had a knockdown in this fight. Patterson sent to the canvas in round number 2. And the jab total through 4 rounds. And as you mentioned now, Acero Sanchez, defensive style, and he's landed a bigger percentage of those jabs.
And many thought this fight would turn on who landed the most jabs, although Patterson has mixed in a lot more body punches than Sanchez. But there is that knockdown to consider.
Acero Sanchez blocked most of that right hand.
Good hand speed by Sanchez. Always had good hand speed. He's showing it tonight. There was a hook by Patterson, but one of the things he hasn't been able to do is use the double left hook to the body and the head. He'll either land at the body or the head, but not both.
Well, as you mentioned before, Acero Sanchez, a very good counter puncher and defensive style. It's tough to double up when you know a guy can whack you right back.
Yeah, although if you double up, you lessen the possibility that you're going to get hit.
Steps in. Tracy Patterson seems a little more comfortable now after what happened obviously early on. He seems to have settled down. That's a good job by his corners.
In that posture, Sanchez was able to land counter punches before. He hasn't been landing as many in recent rounds. Though this hasn't been a bad round for Hector. He's still countering well against Patterson.
Well, a chance of Tracy come up as he fires off a right hand and another.
Both men doing excellent body work there. This round is up for grabs. And I think whoever wins these last 25 seconds might get it.
Standing room only crowd here in the ballroom at Bally's Park Place.
Boy, you flip a coin on this one, Bob.
Then we come to the end of round number 5. A tough one to call. Back after this timeout.
Here's Tracy Harris Patterson with the huge right hand, and that is part of the edge he has in Power Connect, 83-67.
And we start round number 6 of the scheduled 12-round WBC Super Bantamweight Championship fight. Tracy Harris Patterson in the blue, Hector Hector Acero Sanchez in the white.
In retrospect, a huge right hand is a slight overstatement. Big would have covered it, I believe.
There are the punches through 5 rounds.
And Sanchez with the edge. Why? Because he's landing the jab more. This is clearly the power punch edge to Patterson. And yet, the irony there is Patterson's the only man that's going down. Good hug by Patterson.
And here's our scorecard, 47-47.
I gave the last round to Sanchez, but in this round, Patterson throwing some really powerful punches. Last round was very close. Could have gone either way.
Patterson went down in round number 2 and was hurt again later in the round. Round's very tough to score. Very good fight, though.
Excellent fight. Two good technicians in the ring. That time, you see what Patterson did? He kept Sanchez right where he wanted him. And did land a couple of body shots. Hector is as crafty a fighter as you will ever see. When he's on, he's tough. Good hook by Patterson.
And Patterson trying to get inside. Using that left hook and an uppercut.
Good work in there by Patterson. Not everything landed, but excellent technique. And now when he gets Sanchez in a corner like that, he's not going to hit with those big right hands, like the one that sent him down in round 2.
Well, the fight Patterson is fighting goes a little bit against what Floyd Patterson had told us earlier, where you got to have the fight come to you a little bit, but Tracy has had to be the aggressor because Acero likes to fight off the ropes.
And of course, part of the time he got in trouble by getting nailed with the right hand. Patterson has had some very tough title defenses, beating Jesse Benavidez in a common 12-rounder, and a draw with Daniel Zaragoza over 12. And went 12 with Richard Duran in his last title match. So he's accustomed to these tough title defenses.
The fight against Duran, he got off to a slow start, but he was able to control the terms of the fight and was able to win that 12-round decision easily. We come to the end of round 6, a good round for Tracy Harris Patterson as he makes his 5th title defense. And let's go to the corner of Tracy Patterson.
Great shooting. Great shooting. Angela, she's moving all by herself.
Tracy Harris Patterson, while he's not won the battle of the jabs, shows one there, and that is important for him. And in that last round, he outlanded Sanchez 28-10 in power shots, and there's an example of that. Good work on the inside. Using the elbow to keep him where he wanted him, and then landed a hook to the head. That was that sequence in the corner that I praised him for before, and rightly so.
We begin round number 7. Patterson out of his corner. This one is scheduled for 12 with Patterson's WBC Super Bantamweight Championship on the line. Here are the punches in round number 6, and Patterson a bit busier and landing a higher percentage.
But that's a good round of boxing. Sanchez landing 24, him landing 39. Those guys worked hard in that round, and it was a very good round of boxing. Floyd Patterson is listening in. Floyd, after that early knockdown against Tracy, it seems like he has righted himself and not getting hit with that counter right so much.
Yeah, well, I told him to concentrate on the guy's right hand. He's a very good right hand. And as long as you give the right hand a lot of concentration, very ready if you're going to land.
And now he's going to the body also when he gets him on the ropes better.
Yeah, well, you told me about Tracy, right?
Yes, exactly.
I told him to go to the belly.
All right,
I've been telling him that since the fight started.
He's listening to you. Thanks, Floyd.
You're welcome.
Hey, he told him to do it, and he's doing it. Your son should do what you tell him to do.
Well, we saw that with Teddy Atlas in the last fight, instructing Shannon Briggs and getting the 8th round knockout. One of the other things that Floyd Patterson had mentioned after the knockdown was, listen, we'll get him later. Just settle down and fight the fight. Nice and calm.
Although he took a big right by Sanchez. Yeah. Excellent body work. A little low by Patterson, but you can see the combination punches. Sanchez, let me tell you something. The showier punches have come from Patterson. But Sanchez has landed a couple of very solid right hands in this round. Not enough to give him the round, but enough, I think, to stun Patterson for a moment and keep him off him.
Well, it looked like Tracy had a little momentum there, but all of a sudden, Acero Sanchez stops him in his tracks. That's got to be discouraged.
It was that sharp right hand that did it. But by and large, a very good round for Patterson. Floyd was cheering. I said, go to the body. He said, I told him it was good time.
It's easy for us to talk about it. It's another thing for Tracy to do. We come to the end of round number 7. A good round for Tracy Harris Patterson, but Hector Acero Sanchez still standing right there.
Patterson was able to land this excellent right hand as Sanchez moved to his left. I wouldn't call that huge, but I would call it pretty big.
It was excellent as we stand at round number 8. There are the punches through 7 rounds, and you see Acero Sanchez once again using that jab, but Patterson has actually landed more of the punches.
You can see that this is a very close fight.
And a lot of the rounds could have gone either way. Right now I have Patterson up by 2 points, having won the last 4 rounds. However, I mean, some of those rounds are flipping the coin.
And I have Patterson leading 67-60. Oh boy, he was hurt with that shot, I think. Even though he came back, I don't think Sanchez realized that he got to Patterson with that.
Remember, Patterson was knocked down in round number 2. It's interesting because it seems like every time Tracy Patterson gets into a rhythm, Hector Acero Sanchez is there to throw it off.
And ironically, with the power punch, which we wouldn't have expected so much from Sanchez. In this round, Sanchez boxing better.
If you're wondering about late knockouts, Patterson has recorded 2 in the 8th round in his career. Acero Sanchez 1.
Nice combination, following with the uppercut and then the hook.
There's Acero Sanchez right back with a combination of his own.
See how well-schooled both boxers are. Both are good technicians. Both throw good combinations. Patterson's probably thrown better combinations in this fight overall.
Acero Sanchez has been a champion before, the Dominican Republic champion and the New York State champion. Now he'd like the world title of Tracy Harris Patterson.
Patterson thinking of stepping up to featherweight. If he can retain this title here tonight, or either way maybe.
He said making the 122 is getting tougher and tougher. Floyd told us that he's stronger when he's heavier. And there's a right hand that Patterson tries to land as round 8 comes to an end.
Good body work as well by Patterson.
To the corner we go of Hector Acero Sanchez, Nelson Fernandez, Angel de Jesus, Nico Seno, and Edgar Sanchez.
Very confident on man this morning when we talked to him, Sanchez. He really felt that he was going to win this fight, and he felt that he could out-swing Patterson to an extent, and to some degree, he's done that. Sanchez getting a hook in against Patterson. Hasn't landed too many of those left hooks, but that one did get there. Patterson had him on the ropes, landing that excellent straight right hand, and then we'll work the body a little bit, I think, here with some of his shots. Yeah, there's the hook downstairs. Didn't land, but the uppercut gets in. Patterson's done some good work in the last few rounds with Sanchez on the ropes.
Hector Acero Sanchez, 24 years of age, married with 4 children, and would like to bring the title back to New York City and the Bronx as we start round number 9. Punches thrown in round number 8. You see Acero Sanchez a bit busier and a little bit more accurate.
It's because he won the first portion of the round. Patterson came on in the last part, but it wasn't quite enough.
And don't forget, coming up next, Sports Center. They'll bring you the latest on the O.J. Simpson case, along with the World Series of Golf and all of today's top stories. Coming up next on Sports Center.
The O.J. Simpson trial's still going on, huh?
Well, they did have a closed-door hearing today about the DNA and the blood samples and everything else. So the early edition of Sports Center. I'm sure they'll follow up on it. Al, your scorecard now through 8 rounds.
I've got Patterson leading by only 1 point. He's very, very close fight. I don't think you could score it any other way but close. You might have Sanchez ahead, you might have it even, but you really have to make this a close fight. Both men have performed very well. Listen, I said that. You don't have to do anything here, boxing. We've seen some odd decisions.
I actually agree with you.
There you go.
First week on the job on the ring.
Don't let that become a habit. Don't set any dangerous precedents you don't want to live up to.
Good hook to the body there by Patterson. Tried to follow it up with a right hand, and Acero Sanchez grabbed him to buy some time.
The Sanchez jab now becoming a factor again, as it was in all the early rounds. And Patterson, you see trying to counter over the jab, and then gets his own.
Patterson chanting Tracy on third him on. They needed over 30 tickets for family and friends at Patterson.
Sanchez countering very well as Patterson comes in. This still will be a tough round to score. There's the defense of Sanchez. It is excellent.
Final 10 seconds of round number 9. Good right hand by Patterson. That may have won him the round.
Tracy Harris Patterson landing this big right hand to the head of Sanchez, and then continuing to go to work to the body, which he has done a great job of. That one of the 17 power shots that Patterson landed in the last round to only 5 by Sanchez.
Round number 10 is underway, and one of the tougher fights to score. Tracy Patterson and Hector Acero Sanchez. Remember, Patterson was knocked down in round number 2. Patterson is the champion. And in round 9, you see the punches. Patterson a bit busier and landing the higher percentage.
Now, Patterson has been the aggressor coming forward almost throughout this fight, and in some of the judges' minds that may give him even some additional edge. I've got Patterson ahead by 2 points, and he's done good work in the last 5 or 6 rounds.
I have the same score as you, although some of those middle rounds flip-flop, which is the way the judges may see it. And that leads us to the age-old question. It depends how a judge views it. Do they look at the aggressor? Do they look at the counter-puncher and what they prefer as a style?
And they should not ignore all the body work that Patterson has done, too. But there's no question, Hector Acero Sanchez, as you see him counter there, one thing you've got to say here in this 10th round, this young man has certainly performed better than some thought he would. He's a very fine fighter, don't get me wrong, but a lot of people thought he might just be a little over his head a little bit against Patterson. Not so. It's been a very even fight.
Well, he earned Patterson's respect right off the bat with a knockdown in round 2 and nearly sent Patterson down a second time in that round.
And let's not forget, with all the close rounds, that 2-point round could stand Sanchez and get set in a decision situation.
Acero Sanchez told us this morning he feels he has to win every round to take the title away from the champion. Leave no doubt in the judge's mind.
Well, he has boxed smartly, but has he done what you said? I don't know. What he's really done is created a lot of close rounds, and that's the one scenario they were a little concerned about. He's boxing well in this round, but Patterson has gotten his share of shots in also.
Again, Patterson continues to force the action. We come to the final seconds of round number 10. Still 2 more to go with the WBC Super Bantamweight Championship hanging in the balance. Bernstein, we welcome you back to Valley Park Place in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Glad you can join us for ESPN's Top Rank Boxing round number 11 for the WBC Super Bantamweight Championship. Tracy Harris Patterson, the champion in the blue. Hector Acero Sanchez in the white. And don't forget, coming up next, Sports Center. We'll get you caught up on all the day's sports news and all the highlights from around exhibition football and everywhere else on the globe.
And brought in a good one for your debut here on Top Rank Boxing.
Yeah, it really is a very good fight, and one that is very tough to score. And the punches through 2 rounds, and look at that.
Dead even. That seldom happens. We did have a fight once where it ended, I think, dead even, but I don't remember which one it was, but it rarely happens. We're in the 11th round. Hector Sanchez has never seen the 11th round. Or did he one time? Yeah, one fight. He was KO'd in the 11th. I was like Garcia, but other than that, except that one time he hasn't fought in the 11th round.
That was back in 1991. Tracy Harris Patterson, 3 times he's gone past 10 rounds. And now we'll take a look at your scorecard if we agree again.
1-point win so far, or edge for Patterson. Sanchez really doing some valuable work toward the end of the last round. Patterson's world title on the line, and even though even though he wants to step up in the weight, he would like to do it as a champion, Bob, not after losing his championship. And you know, big upset, Kingsley McKinney losing his IBF super featherweight, which is the same as this division, and or junior featherweight, excuse me. They were thinking Patterson and McKinney is a big money fight. Could be they'll both lose their title.
That's right. Patterson said he'd still be interested in fighting him, but obviously he needs to keep his championship, and it's Acero Sanchez with the combination and a blistering Patterson. These are the championship rounds, and Acero Sanchez is trying to make his claim to the title.
He is throwing with more authority, and there's no question Sanchez has had an excellent 11th round. He may be setting up a scenario where round 12 will decide this fight.
And he's showing that movement against the ropes that was successful early on.
He's mentioned Patterson has had 2 12-round defenses against Zaragoza, 3 actually, Duran, Zaragoza,
And
Benavidez.
There's a right by Patterson that scores. And Acero Sanchez has answered back.
Terrific exchanges, but I don't know if that's enough to get Patterson this round. The Sanchez landed as well. Oh, excellent.
He is going to try to knock her out everything. He's going to try to win the foundation. So you have to superimpose a decent and counter-punch. Just counter-punch, right?
And by Burger King. Value every day. Have it your way. Tracy Harris Patterson trying to avoid the blocker here and keep the title. Lloyd Patterson saying, be careful. That he's going to try to knock you out now. How do you have it scored as we start this 12th and final round?
Well, I'll tell you, this fight, a very, very, very close fight. It's about as close as you can get. And I think that this round will definitely decide it. I've got the fight dead even. And as far as I'm concerned, unless you're of the mind to say, gee, I kind of lean toward a champion, which I don't think anyone should ever do, this is about a dead even fight.
I see acero Sanchez winning the last 2 rounds, and I have it even as well at 104. Remember, Patterson went down in round 2. There's a right hand that scores, but acero Sanchez not bothered.
And you can feel as this crowd comes alive here that Patterson feels he needs something dramatic here in this last round, and he may very well. Well, I think no one would have been shocked to see this fight go 12, Bob. Many are probably surprised to see it be this close.
Well, you're sitting next to one of them. Blocking those combinations.
But the hand speed of Sanchez, which has been impressive throughout, continues to be.
The chant of Tracy, a lot of fans down from New York chanting Hector. Standing room only here at Bally's Park Place.
Well, this is a battle of upstate New York and New York City, isn't it? Nice right by Patterson. This has been one of the most well-fought bouts by 2 very well-conditioned and excellent athletes. And good technicians in the ring. And he gets the right hand in off that interesting move.
And he doesn't let acero Sanchez counter what he's done so well.
I'll tell you what, this is...
That's a trip. That was a trip. Referee Ron Lipton. Patterson tripped over the foot of acero Sanchez. This may come down to the final punch or combination.
I think I would give Patterson a slight edge so far here in the 12th round. But it's light.
What a fight this has been from start to finish. Round 12.
At 28 years old, Tracy Harris Patterson sees the possibility of his title slipping away. Does not want to go up to the featherweight division without a title. Good right hand by Sanchez.
And moving away, he scored.
You pick him.
And that is it. Who wins? Acero Sanchez thinks he's a winner. So do his handlers. You know, you can score this thing a draw.
And that's exactly the way I will score it. That is precisely the way I will score this fight. If it is a draw, Patterson retains his title. That young man, Sanchez, with his manager Nelson Hernandez, fought a tremendous fight. Now, he has had some tough decisions before, a draw to Eddie Croft that we saw. In this case, though, it would not be ripping him off if it were a draw, but he could get the win. He feels he won.
And don't forget, in 2 weeks, we're back in action. Danny Romero puts his NABF Flyweight Championship on the line against Marcos Pacheco. It starts 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Friday, September 9th, from Los Angeles. And don't forget, SportsCenter is coming up next. The latest on the O.J. Simpson case, plus all the highlights from the World Series of Golf, and much, much more. As soon as we get our decision here in Atlantic City, did Tracy Harris Patterson hold on to his title? Did Hector acero Sanchez win it? We will find out momentarily. And there are the punches. Look at that.
A very slight edge for Sanchez, 14 punches, so you can make a case for a victory for him. I think you can make a case for a draw, maybe even for Patterson by a point. So, either way.
And let's go to the decision. Here is our ring announcer, Ed Darian.
Ladies and gentlemen, before I announce the decision, I'd like to introduce to you a man who worked in that blue corner, former two-time heavyweight champion of the world, Floyd Patterson. And we've got the scoring, and here it is. Judge Vinny Rainoni scored 114, 113, acero, sanchez. Judge Henry Ellis Burrow watched the fight at 100, 112, 115 to 112, Patterson. And Judge Cindy Barton scores it 101, 114 to 113 for the winner by split decision and a brand new WBC Super Bantamweight champion, Hector
Acero Sanchez gets it by the narrowest of margins in what could be one of the bigger upsets in the last, at least the last year in boxing.
Hector Acero Sanchez out of New York City wins the WBC Super Bantamweight Championship with a split decision over Tracy Harris.